Hey guys, today we are going to be talking about your Molchanov Equalisation Trainer tool and how to use them. These EQ trainers are very good for developing equalization strength and coordination. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to show you what the thing is, and then I'm going to go through a series of exercises that we can do and what those exercises are good for. So your EQ trainer will have two pieces. Basically it is a bit of is this 3D printed? Molded. Basically we have the part that goes into your nose like this. And this part, this is actually just to control the flow of air. So you put it like this, so you can tighten it, and it restricts airflow going in and out. Can't even push air through that. Or you open it up, and then it's a bit harder to push air, or you can open it right up, or you can just take it right out, and then there's no resistance at all. So you can play with the resistance. That's what this is for. I should have just said that in the beginning. This is for controlling resistance. Okay, so then what we do is we get a balloon. Now these come with the EQ trainers, but these are not special balloons. These are just standard balloons. So your balloon goes over the base of the EQ trainer up to the rim, and it does. Yeah, it's there's no hiding what it looks like. It goes up to the rim of the penis. I mean, the rim of the EQ trainer. Should I keep that in?
Yes, and I'm going to keep this bit as well where you're asking me.
Yeah. So most of the exercises are to do with inflating the balloon, placing it against your nose, and then doing different things to control and shift the air around. So the first thing we're going to do is inflate the balloon. Now I like to use my middle fingers to actually pinch it, while I actually hold on to the EQ trainer with my thumb and my forefinger. It gives me the most control, so I can just move it around. So I'm not leaking air before I put it against my nose. These first two exercises are going to be more for developing coordination and strength in Frenzel equalization, and then at the end we'll look at developing coordination and strength for mouthful equalization. But the very first exercise is this. You're going to put the EQ trainer against your nose, and using your tongue and your soft palate, you're going to control the flow of air entering down into your lungs. So we can do this in one of two ways. We can push the soft palate up into a closed position and stop the flow of air, or we use our tongue to press up against the roof of our mouth, and with the tongue force the soft palate to be closed. And then we're going to open and close it, open and close it. So we're going to learn how to develop control of opening and closing our soft palate. So it is a little bit easier with more resistance. So the more that you inflate the balloon, the more resistance pushes against you, so you can feel it out a little bit better. So all I was doing then was I was closing my soft palate and opening it, closing it and opening it. And I was using my tongue and my larynx to assist that as well. The next thing is going to be a Frenzel exercise. We're going to do a passive exhale. We're going to put the EQ trainer to our nose, and you're going to reverse pack and then Frenzel the air into your EQ trainer. Reverse pack again, Frenzel the air. We're going to aim to fill up the EQ trainer, or fill up the balloon. So. Now this actually gets tricky, because the further along you get, the more resistance in the balloon, the more resistance you have pushing back against you, so it becomes harder to reverse pack. So what this is actually training is the speed in which you can reverse pack and then quickly push the air in. And you can see with me, I was struggling towards the end. I was like trying to struggle to reverse pack fast enough. So it's developing speed of the reverse pack, which leads into a speedy Frenzel. Fantastic exercise, and I recommend that you work with that one a fair bit. You should play with different Frenzel positions. So first, okay, well I'm going to do this with a H Frenzel, or then a K Frenzel, and a T Frenzel, and work with the different positions to see if you can be fast and efficient with all of those Frenzel positions. I'll do the same thing with a P Frenzel now. Let's see how I go. I think I did a lot better that time. So you'll feel, the second you do this, you'll feel the air press back against you the more you fill up the balloon, and you'll feel the urgency for like how quickly you need to reverse pack. Because at depth, this is as we start going to primarily between kind of like 30 and 40 meters, and then beyond that, frenziling beyond that, you really have to be like fast with your reverse packing. It can no longer be like a lazy movement, like to bring up the air. It's gonna be like a really fast movement. This next exercise is one of the best ways to develop tongue and oral control for frenzel equalization. So what we're going to do first, we're going to fill up the balloon. Now you can do this on inhale or exhale. It will be more challenging to do it on exhale. I recommend that you try it on inhale first and then move to doing it on exhale. It's like just a passive exhale. So the first thing we're going to do is going to fill up the balloon, put it against the nose, and you're going to let the air run into your mouth and fill up first just your P frenzel, and then you're going to push the air out, then back into the P frenzel, working, just filling up the whole P frenzel area, pushing it all the way out. Ideally, we don't lose any air down the vocal fold into the lungs, and we finish the exercise with the same amount of air in the balloon that we began with. Now the next thing we do, the exact same thing, but working with the T frenzel position. Hey. Okay, next, the exact same thing with the K frenzel, and then obviously the H frenzel, but I'll show you what it looks like. Oh, I'm letting it leak. The more inflated the balloon is, or well, to an extent, the more resistance you get pushing down into the mouth or into the nasal cavity. And now the H frenzel, I'm going to do it with my tongue stuck out just so you can see like that my tongue is completely out of the way. I was choking a little bit on that one. So once you've worked with all these different positions individually, then we string them together. So you do P, out, back into the balloon, T, back into the balloon, K, back into the balloon, H, back into the balloon. And that's the culmination of this exercise. First P, P, T, K, H. And you just go round and round and round and round, developing comfort with transitioning through these tongue positions with air constantly pressing, creating resistance against the tongue, so that you have to really develop the strength of the larynx and the control of the tongue to then push the air back into the balloon all the time. This next exercise is one purely for the larynx. what we're going to do is, number one, make sure we have not been sharing our Equalisation Trainer around with our friends, because it's going to go in our mouth now. And then we're going to open up the flow, or just take this out entirely. So you're going to put this against your lips, and with your larynx, you're going to pump the air in and out. We're not going to inhale or exhale. In fact, we should probably just do this with a stomach vacuum, just to make certain. So. So you can see that just by dropping down my larynx and then pushing it up, I'm pulling air out and in. Now the reason why we just don't go like this is because we can create some pretty precise resistance with the EQ trainer. So let's like make the resistance really, really tight. There you go, that should be good. Do the exact same thing. This is for strength. Think of it like a workout. And now, I don't think I was super successful, but during the exercise, you want to make sure that you are relaxed all around your neck. So now we have the resistance high up. We're going to do the exact same thing, and it's going to be more like a workout, like pulling and pushing against this resistance. Now, before we do this, I want to make sure that we don't tense up our necks and or our shoulders as we're doing this. So we're going to do our exhale, suck our abdominals in. I want you to put your EQ trainer to your lips. Just roll your neck around to make sure that everything starts loose, and then start to work with the larynx and try not to tense up in the neck or the shoulders. Larynx power. This next exercise is a quintessential soft palate and tongue control exercise. What we're going to do is inflate the balloon and then put it against our lips, and we want the air to pass into our mouth, over our tongue, around the soft palate, and come out of our nose. Now there are going to be two things that stop this from happening. A, does my soft palate get stuck up against the roof of my mouth? Or B, is my tongue going against the roof of my mouth to stop the airflow? So you can see these are two of the most common mouthfeel issues. So this exercise builds awareness of those issues. It also builds awareness of the soft palate for Frenzel, but now I suppose we're transitioning over into the kind of middle ground between the Frenzel and the mouthfeel exercises, and then in a second we'll talk about just the mouthfeel exercises. So once again, first try this on full lungs, and then try this on a passive exhale with the stomach sucked in with a stomach vacuum. Straight out my nose. Okay, let's now do this on a passive exhale with the stomach vacuum. All running out of my nose. So just remember, when you're doing this, there are two main problems that most divers run into. A, they're just closing their soft palate, or B, they're putting their tongue against the roof of the mouth, which stops the air from coming in anyway, but then that can also lock up the soft palate. You know, we are talking about like your body's response to like a foreign body or something coming from like the exterior being forced into the mouth. So it's very natural that you'd want to push the tongue up against the roof of the mouth to block that, but you gotta make sure you keep the tongue down and neutral, and that way it can go over the tongue and around the soft palate. Now to the mouthfeel exercises. There are three main exercises that I recommend that we do with the EQ trainer. The first two are going to be breaking the mouthfeel into two stages and then working with those two individual stages. And the final one is going to be putting it all together. And in all of these cases, we're filling up the balloon. We're going to let the air run into our mouthfeels as if we charged. and then we're going to mouthfill slowly the air back into the balloon. Now, when we do this, we want to do it over the duration in which we would normally mouthfill. So if we're diving to 50, 60 odd meters, work out what your free fall time is and make sure that you can run your mouthfill out at least for that long. If you can slowly push a mouthfill into the balloon for about a minute or so, you're doing very, very well. So first, let's work with just the cheeks. I'm going to do this for a single source mouthfill. So I'm going to let the air go into my whole mouthfill. And in the beginning, I'm just going to do the cheek pump, pumping the air slowly back into the balloon. Once again, first do these exercises with full lungs and then do them again on a passive exhale with the stomach vacuum. I'm just going to go straight away to doing it with the stomach vacuum though. And you might need a bit of a breathe up for this. Cheeks are empty, larynx stays down. So the first part is just going to be working with the cheeks, keeping the larynx held down the entire time. When the cheeks are empty, that's it. Next, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're not going to take in the full quantity of air with the mouthfill. We're just going to take in enough so that we can throw the air back and forward. From in front of the cheeks to frenzel positions, back to the cheeks, frenzel positions, back to the cheeks, frenzel positions. We start with the P because we'll have the most air, and then when the air is compressing, we go back to the T, and when the air is compressing, we go to a K, and when the air is compressing even more, to a H. And in this case, we're simulating pressure or the compressing of the air by just losing air into the balloon. Once again, full lungs first, and then exhale, stomach vacuum. I'm just going to go straight to the stomach vacuum just so you don't watch me do this 1,000 times, or twice. So the tricky part with this is that the air is always getting pushed back into you from the balloon. So what we're doing is we're developing control of our tongue and control of moving between all of these positions constantly. Now we put the whole thing together, we do a whole mouthful. We're going to take a whole mouthful from the balloon and just slowly push it back into the balloon without losing anything down the vocal fold. So first I pump with my cheeks while I keep my larynx lowered, and then I go to moving the air from the cheeks to the frenzel positions, back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. Full lungs first, then FRC and stomach vacuum. Oh, gonna blow this up. And ideally, we don't lose any air down the throat that whole time. So that's the basics of how you use the multi-noise equalization trainer. Give it a go, it's a very, very good way to work with your equalization skills while you're not diving. It's a very, very good way to constantly develop awareness and the coordination to move all these muscles in the way that we need to when we're equalizing, especially as we're going deeper and deeper and deeper. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you in the water somewhere.